Outlander, we've come for your woman, Outlander. Just kidding, it's Dan. I am in a corn maze hoping to not get attacked by the children of the corn. Welcome to this week's Wrestling with Horror. Our guest, who has been mentioned on a previous episode. If you caught the episode with Jeff G. Bailey, you heard tale of the legend of Iceberg. He is actually my guest on the show tonight. And I guess I'd better get out of here because some creepy kids might be peering up out of the corn. Oh, wait, there's one now.
It's okay. It's just his daughter.
Okay, shoo. So no children of the corn attacking me. It's just my own kid. But you're gonna love this interview with Iceberg this week on Wrestling with Horror. All right, welcome to Wrestling with Horror. We heard about this man. We saw a little bit about him on the Jeff G. Bailey episode, but it's my distinct pleasure to welcome the Being of Inconceivable Horror himself. Iceberg is here on Wrestling with Horror. Thanks for joining us, Berg.
Thank you, brother.
And so the first question we always ask, we have to know where this obsession started. As a child, how did you first discover your love for horror?
So my sister takes me, obviously it was part 2, Jaws 2. She takes me to see Jaws 2. And I'm maybe 5, 6 years old. And it fucking terrified me. Like, to this day, the ocean, I don't get in it. Like, I like my place on the food chain, you know what I mean? And like, I fit what the hell a white shark or any shark would go at. Like, I'm a fat dude, so like, I know that's their gimmick, so like, I stay away from it. But yeah, Jaws 2, like, that's where it started, and it's, 44 years, and I'm still I'm a kid, I'm a kid with it.
Kid in a proverbial candy store of gore.
Absolutely.
So what were a handful of some of your favorite horror films?
Jaws, the original, Exorcist, Amityville, the original Nightmare. I was 10 years old when it came out. It scared the shit out of me. I think a lot of it was I'd never seen a character like that. And then somebody was trying to like break into our shop outside of our house. So that didn't help. But the one character that just scared the shit out of me was Leatherface. And because I guess it was so raw, the way the movie was shot, everything seemed like it was like a documentary as I'm watching it. It seemed like this could happen. And it did, Eddie Gein back in the day, like I know that's what Leatherface was based off of, basically, that shit's real. Like, you can't make this shit up. So.
Yeah, and some all-time classics there for sure. And I believe you've got a little bit of horror-inspired ink, do you not?
Yeah, I do, man.
So let's take a look here.
Got the Friday the 13th 3. That's always my favorite version of the character. Richard Brooker, that's obviously after he'd taken the axe hit. Halloween Pumpkin, which the guy did a shitty job on, but proud to have it. Then I had a guy just be free and do his own version of Freddy, and then I've got my Johnny Cash Frankenstein. So, yeah, that's
wow.
my shit.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, in your career, Jeff certainly covered it a little bit, but exactly how have you taken your love for horror and used it to influence your wrestling career?
I wanted to be like the guys that scared me as a kid watching wrestling. And these guys, to me, were actual horror characters. Dusty Rhodes, Abdul the Butcher, all the blood. But then, I had the opportunity to work with a little company called NWA Wildside. And Jeff G. Bailey, actually, he was my first manager there. And we began to talk, and we both had we had a love for serial killers. Very, very intrigued by it. And that's where me and Jeff finally meshed. And we tried to play off of that, the realism. You know, the O.J. Simpson thing was very fresh at the time. Columbine, that, you know, tragedy, but, you know, play some off of that. Even the Wayne Williams, the Atlanta child murders, we shot a promo from the bridge. You know, one of the bridges, which was one of his dumping sites. Just being able to get that one person to buy into the insanity, like, you know, if I could give them and come into the camera and have them believe when I've got that in my hand that I'm legitimately stabbing this guy in the face. And if that meant putting my own body through hell, that's what I did. You know, very fortunate to have worked with the Reverend, obviously, doing the Devil's Rejects. That's probably my funnest time in the business because I'm working with, you know, my best friends. And that thing worked so well. It was like we got thrown back into an era where the believability was there. So very thankful for those guys just choosing me to be in that spot.
Outstanding. Well, the love of horror runs deep with the Iceberg, and we're glad to have him. Any final comments here before we say goodbye?
Oh man, just guys, thank you for having me do this. Support indie horror. Go out and watch stuff, but know your classics. You know, watch the Silent, watch Nosferatu, however you pronounce the shit. Watch that. Watch the Golden Age. You know, know your history, and then see how everything winds up being connected, because it all comes back to something else.
Outstanding. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Berg.
Thank you, brother.
This has been Wrestling with Horror.
Tonight, you are gonna drown in blood. And this is a message to every single person in this dressing room. Iceberg, the atrocity exhibit, is the monster. Violence is a banquet on which he feeds from. And tonight, he's gonna feed on the blood of white trash. Oh! One more, Bird. One more. I don't want him back in my building. He's